Can we start talking about how expensive restaurant is these days? I find it kind of sad that most people just quietly accepting this fact that restaurants are so expensive. But if we really think about it, how are we okay with this even though prices were nearly half of what they are today just 5-6 years ago? For instance, even a lot of dining restaurants and definitely takeouts is $15 or less back then. But now, all those restaurants are pushing nearly $30. That is absolutely ridiculous. In fact, nowadays, it's hard to find a restaurant charging less than $20. And I don't care what type of restaurant it is, it could just be a simple takeout place. I mean, they're going to be charging you $20. And with taxes and everything added, it's probably pushing close to like $30, which is absolutely insane because people's salaries and wages have not gone up that much in this time period. And on top of everything, nowadays you have restaurants just charging absolutely obscene fees like inflation fees or band fees and all types of other fees. There's a sign that shows that people have stopped eating out so much that the restaurant numbers have declined by 40% and it's only growing. So in a way, I guess customers are starting to push back against these absurd prices charged by these greedy restaurants.
40% of Americans are eating out less. Inflation from tariffs is taking away one of the most basic joys of everyday life.
This restaurant's under fire because of an added entertainment fee. But if you don't know me, I'm Jay and I talk all things business. A customer after leaving the restaurant noticed that they were charged a 2 live band entertainment fee. So he was charged $10 per person for a band fee. The customer felt slighted because 1, he wasn't told about this fee, and 2, he had never heard about this type of fee from a restaurant. Catch responded to these comments on their Instagram page stating that they will add this fee to help enhance the customer's experience. As a business owner myself, I understand how charges can add, but I think the best way to implement this is not to fee because it just upsets people. I think they would have a greater time just adding $2 extra to each of the menu items, and 1, they would definitely make up the price of the entertainment fee, and 2, people wouldn't be upset by seeing a fee on their receipt.
If you're always eating out, you are gonna stay broke. A lot of people, they're making $60,000 a year, and this is what an average week of eating out looks like for them. Every day for work, they spend about $5 on a coffee, and they usually go out and get a sandwich, and that's another $10. It means every day they go to work, they're spending at least $15, probably spending about $75 a week, and let's be conservative here, they're spending at least $200 a month getting lunch. On top of that, about 1/3 of Americans admit that they go out to eat at least once a week or more. Nowadays, that's probably at least $50, if not more, and probably another $200 a month. According to a survey by the Daily Meal, Americans on average get takeout over 2 times a week. On the lower end is probably another $30 a pop, $60 a week, and likely another $250 a month. Altogether, that's about $650 a month for someone that's only making $3,750 a month after taxes. Basically, they're spending like 20% of their income just eating out. Do this instead. Get a crock pot, do some meal prep, put some effort into it. Find other areas in life that you enjoy that don't cost anything that you can do with your friends, like working out, going for a walk, doing a potluck, having a game night. There's tons of options out there. Tell your friends that you're on a budget. Real ones will be supportive. If my friend told me that they were on a budget, not trying to spend money, and I wanted to go out to dinner with them, I would go and pay for their dinner if I really wanted to go out to eat with them that badly. And lastly, if you are gonna go meet someone for dinner, eat something ahead of time. That way you're less likely to order something. And if you do, maybe it's something lighter and costs less money.
There is a restaurant pandemic hitting Los Angeles right now. My name is Amir. I own a restaurant in Los Angeles, and I'm seeing it firsthand. Restaurants that have been around for 30, 40, 50 years, institutionalized, have stood the test of time, are now closing. Why? Is there a shift in laws, regulations, tipping, costs, labor? Grow out of a fad? Have people just got bored of these restaurants after 50 years? Why are these places that have never closed now closing? Your restaurant occupancy cost is higher than ever. Labor is higher than ever. Your food service, delivery, food costs, service fees are higher than ever. Your interest rate at the bank, higher than ever. And what? Your menu can only go up so much. So I don't know what's going to happen. You're seeing a lot of restaurants get away from that full service and going to that self-service because it's the only really sustainable way to continue. But you're going to see a lot of these mom and pop shops close down. A lot of these bigger brands shift their service and focus to pay first. I don't know. We'll see. It's a struggle bus. Everyone's fighting to survive.
Since when did fast food cost just as much as a sit-down restaurant? We were at Chick-fil-A and it cost $60 for 4 of us to eat. $60. That is a sit-down restaurant with a drink for the both of us and a kid's meal.
2 kids meal.
2 kids meals. And we're spending that on fast food. That's crazy to me.
Fast food has turned into sit-down restaurant prices.
I guess so.
I'm not ashamed to say that I'll go buy a hamburger from a restaurant and go home and put my own cheese on it. You ain't charging me no extra $1.50 for a slice of cheese, man.
Anytime you walk into a restaurant, ask them, who's your food vendor? And if they say Cisco, just know you about to eat a Lunchable for $40. Like I fucking said, I'ma eat it though.
Here's the real scam when eating out at restaurants anymore. It's not the service fees, it's not the automatic gratuity, it's the drinks. I'm not even talking about alcoholic beverages. I'm just talking about straight up fountain drinks, like a soda. I went to Taco Tuesday the other day because it was Tuesday and I wanted tacos. There was a big sign out front of this restaurant that said $3 tacos. Sounds like a great deal. So I went and I sat down and I said, I'd like to order tacos, please. And they said, oh, that special only applies if you order a drink. It was noon. I didn't want a margarita, so I said, what's the cheapest thing I can get that's not water? I ordered an unsweet iced tea. I drank my tea, ate my tacos. They was delicious. And when I got my bill, I was shocked because the unsweet tea was $1 more than the tacos. $4 for tea. So let me get this straight. Liquid is $4, taco is $3. But look, it's not just the drinks, it's the gratuities, it's the fees, it's the credit card fees, it's everything that's just hidden until you get the final bill. I hate the number on the menu is not what you see on the bill at the end of the meal. It is so infuriating to me. Eating out anymore is just a guessing game. And this might be part of the reason why so many restaurants are sitting empty. So I'm genuinely curious, how much does a cup of tea cost where you live? Because where I live is $4 now. And that doesn't seem right to me. And that's the tea.
I hate expensive restaurants because I think it's a waste of money. You're going to shit it out anyway. I find a lot of times they're incredibly pretentious. You don't even have a good time because everybody's so posh, just about wipe your ass for you. And then the bill comes and it's like a ridiculous amount. And then you go home and you just get pissed because sometimes you're still hungry. Like we were 2 couples and it was like $450. I think it's a waste. For me, like my rich life does not include going to a steakhouse and paying an obnoxious amount of money. We went to a Michelin star restaurant once, Roger and I, and we left there and we got Domino's pizza.
New York City restaurants have absolutely lost their mind.
I'm a hostess at a Michelin star restaurant, so let me explain this to you. But also to start, the girl you were talking to, she sounds like she just doesn't know how to explain this to you in a way that like makes sense to a guest. And she also sounds a little mean, but like, let me run it back. Say, for example, your reservation is at 6 o'clock and the reservation behind you is at 8:15. That's because you have a 2-hour dinner and there's 15 minutes buffer for the people in the restaurants to change over the tables, clean it up. And also it gives the server enough time to be done with their other tables so that they can stagger it so they don't get triple sat at the same time. It keeps the flow of the restaurant going and makes sure that we don't have to do a flat seating, which can be really tough on the kitchen, dishwashers, the bar, everybody. But you canceled at 6 o'clock, obviously because your friend has COVID. Sorry about that. That means that they probably won't be able to fill that 6 o'clock slot, meaning they have to hold that table open from opening until 8:15 until the next reservation comes in. Now, it's possible that somebody will walk in at 6:15 and they'll be able to slide them into that table, pray and hope that that person gets up in 2 hours and they're ready for that 8:15 reservation. But if not, they will have to hold that table open. If somebody came in at 7 o'clock, they might not be able to seat them because that person's probably going to want to spend an hour 45 or 2 hours at dinner, but they can't because the reservation behind it is at 8:15 that they have to be committed to. So essentially, not only have they lost out on the potential of you guys eating there, they have potentially also lost out on the opportunity for somebody else to sit there. That's probably, depending on where you're going, that could be anywhere from like $300 to $500. And that could be the difference between them making a profitable night and a not profitable night, which means it affects how much your server will get paid and affects them their ability to pay rent, all that, yada, yada, yada. Now, what I think the more equitable, honest, and realistic thing for them to do was to offer to move your reservation to a later date for no charge. However, the reason people don't want to do that is oftentimes what people will do is they will have them move the reservation to the next week, usually taking up like a prime time spot. like a 7:15, a 7:45, and 8 o'clock. And then the next day, that person will go in and cancel the reservation. Meaning the restaurant and the people who work there have already been kicked in the face twice. So that's probably why they were willing to like move you to a different reservation, but still wanted you to pay for the table that you did hold up. Now, if this was a good restaurant group and they were kind, smart, sexy people who cared about, taking care of the people who want to come enjoy their restaurant, what they could do is allow you to cancel the reservation, charge you the $100 fee, but send that $100 back to you on a gift card. That way, they still get the money that they were supposed to collect, or at least a portion of the money that they were supposed to collect. Their staff will get something for that night. Because more likely than not, you probably would have spent more than $100 anyway. So the next time you come, you already know that you're $100 up. But again, running restaurants is really hard. People really do underestimate how difficult it is to run a restaurant. And since most people do not work in service, they really don't understand the ins and outs of why you can't just like cancel at the last minute and it will be fine. Most restaurants out there are independently owned. They are small businesses. And as a person who has worked the door at a Michelin star restaurant for 7 years, oh my God, sorry, I had to run to catch my bus. But basically, I have worked the door at restaurants for a very long time. And while most people, I think, do come in with the best of intentions, restaurants make the rules not because you're a normal whatever person who's like probably just trying to do the right thing, but they make the rules because some people like to abuse the system. And when you allow that system to be abused, the people who it hurts are like me, your kitchen staff, your servers, your food runners, your bartenders. Like those people get jilted, and it's not fair. So much like when you have to like change a plane ticket at the last minute, and they charge you some little fee, a restaurant is going to charge you a little fee, just for doing that. It's probably more expensive because you're in New York, because everything's more expensive in New York. But anywhere between like $25 and $50 per person is pretty normal as a cancellation fee for a restaurant.
I don't know if it's me or what, but there's no way that every time I leave to go get some food for lunch, it's like $15. I don't know if it's because I'm not eating at McDonald's or Taco Bell or whatever, but these prices is getting outrageous. Like, I'm one person. I should be at least $6. Like $6. Not 15, not 12, not 20. Why is and then the crazy thing about it is, like, I went and got me some quesadillas. And why am I spending $12 and it ain't even got no drink? It ain't even no drink. It ain't even no side.
Okay, so I'm at a Mexican restaurant having some lunch, and the receipt comes out, and they say it's the service fee for serving the customer. Now, this right here gonna take the cake. Okay, so I'm down now, and the receipt says service fee for serving the customer. What's a service fee for serving the customer? What is that? Now, I'm not even in Atlanta. Now, in Atlanta, I know for a fact they charge all types of fees on your receipt. But in the suburbs, you don't really charge them fees on your receipts. Miscellaneous fees that y'all just coming up with. Because see, if you start charging miscellaneous fees of all different sorts out in the suburbs, the next thing you know, the suburbs might start charging us to park out there in the parking lot. And we ain't paying to park in the parking lot. Okay? Now I know y'all know what I'm talking about. All these service fees. We ain't paying no service fees. Not in the burbs. We're not paying service fees.
Let's get into all these fees we paid at this restaurant. And before we all start, no, we not broke. I just want to talk about these fees. All right, we got a $44 service charge, $11.75 state tax, $4.41 city tax, $8.81 county tax, and then if you don't pay with cash, you have to pay basically $11 more.
So I just wanted to say that I do not think that most people have a concept of how much wage theft happens in restaurants. And what's even worse is that I think most restaurant employees do not have a concept of how much wage theft happens to them. And it's either because they do not recognize what is legal or illegal, they do not know their rights, or they do not recognize the wage theft is happening because it is hidden by ownership or management. I lived in Chicago for 10 years, and I spent all of that 10 years working in restaurants, and I worked in everything from dives to, you know, trendy upscale restaurants to like top tier fine dining, right? And there were a few places that I experienced wage theft, and in those places it was kind of low level. There was one place that I did. I need to correct myself. There was one place I did experience wage theft that was egregious, and I did not realize it until many years after I had stopped working there. But there were some places that I did experience wage theft, and it was low level. And I think that's probably the most common, you know, things like, oh, you know, you don't have to go buy an apron. You don't have to have pens or a server notebook. We have that stuff here for you. And then they have a hidden charge in your paycheck every 2 weeks for those things, right? I've heard of all different types of things. I trained at a place that attempted to charge for family meal, and we all know that family meal is free, right? And it wasn't just that they were trying to charge for it. It was that it was clearly just the scraps. It was clearly what they were going to throw away. The food looked like it had been thrown away, pulled out of the trash and heated up, right? Just another way to take money from the people that are working for them. You know, there's far, far worse, more blatant in your face ways, like a restaurant requiring all of the servers and bartenders to pool their tips, and then it being managers getting a cut of that money, which is highly illegal. But there are a lot of employees that don't know that, right? Or they don't feel like they have recourse. They don't feel like they can fight back. And I will tell you up front, if you are one of those employees who thinks that you are experiencing wage theft, there are employment lawyers out there that will take your case and they will help you. I know of a lot of class action lawsuits. I had a friend in Chicago who is still a very highly successful employment lawyer, and there are people out there that will fight for you and they will work for you. So don't take it lying down. And I think what's just really, really heartbreaking is that restaurant work, like I said in my original video, is highly exploitative. It is an exploitative industry at its nature. And I have been very fortunate in that I have worked in good places. I currently work in an amazing place, and I'm very well taken care of by ownership. But, you know, the majority of people, I would say, that work in the restaurant industry are exploited in multiple ways, from ownership to management to customer base, right? So you have an industry where workers are being exploited. They are working oftentimes 8-12 hours at a stretch on a daily basis. They're often not granted their legal breaks. They don't have access to bathrooms when they need them. They're often not getting food like they should be. They are working themselves to the bone. They are often scheduled in a way where they cannot have a balanced life outside of work. Customers treat them poorly, then don't tip, and then they're having their wages stolen by their employers.
Wendy's has officially gone way overboard. They are trying to roll out an Uber-style surge pricing with their menu prices fluctuating based on demand. So you may pull up in the drive-thru and a cheeseburger is going to cost $5. By the time you pull up to the actual order menu, it may be $7.50 or $10, depending on the surge pricing. Here comes the rant. Sorry, it's the nerd in me. But their cost of goods is not surging as well. It's staying the same. So if this is not price gouging at its finest and introducing a new way of things, if you are any other restaurant, do not do this. I'm telling you, Wendy's is going to have a revolt. So of course, I wanted to see what the current prices is for Wendy's if you were to go. They have introduced these $5 biggie bags where you pretty much get what you used to get for like $3 for now $5 plus change, but you get way less than you used to get. This is what the millennials were used to. This is when it was really, really good times. Can we please get back to this? The quantities were bigger. Everything was 99 cents. You would roll up and be like, give me 4 JBCs and a chicken nugget. Back when your metabolism wasn't going to add 10 pounds for that order. It was better times. I cannot believe they're thinking about doing the surge pricing. This is going to be disastrous. How about we bring this back, and I guarantee you, you're going to get a lot more happy people.
This is absolutely outrageous. I mean, if this is true, I'm never eating at Wendy's again. Like what this guy said, this is such a greedy practice that doesn't even make sense. And I think it's definitely going to backfire on Wendy's. Imagine if you look everything up online and it says $5 for a meal. Only when you go there, you find out it's like $7.50. How are you going to feel after that? Are you not going to be super angry and you're never going to go back to that place again? I mean, we'll see how they implement it in real life and whether they can get away with this practice. I'm kind of pessimistic and think they can actually get away with this because people are just going to accept this as the new normal. Because in general, I don't think people are pushing back against these absurd prices by these restaurants enough. And Americans really need to start speaking out more against these greedy practices so these restaurants and fast food chains can stop. Cost of living in this day and age is already pretty insane as is. We don't need to have more contributed to it by this.